going on? I am here with UFC Bantamweight Johnny Munoz. He is fighting Aori Qileng this Saturday at the Apex. So you've had a couple losses in your UFC career. You are coming off one, but you've never lost twice in a row. What do you think it is about you and your team, your training, that you seem to bounce back very well after losses?
I think it's just years of training, honestly. For me, when I lose, it really puts a fire in my ass. And I've explained this before, like being able to have a loser's mentality. But when I say the loser mentality, it doesn't mean like a loser, it's actually a winner. But what I mean by that is like you could be winning for years, and it's hard to stay motivated. You know, you hear those like stories from top fighters. You know, they're winning and winning, and it's hard to stay on the horse and maybe train as hard for the next fight. You're making money, you're having success. Oh, maybe I don't need to do all these things. You know what I mean? But having that loser mentality is like, you know, when you lose and you get that fire because you need to get payback, you need redemption, you need to show yourself that hey, I'm capable of fighting uh, at this level, or I could get that back. That whatever you want to call it. But I feel like even when I came up through jiu-jitsu tournaments, I would lose, and I always have a fire in my ass to come back and to prove to myself. Like it wasn't for other people. I could give a shit about other people, but it was always to myself. You know, that ego inside of you. So I feel like it's what it is, but it's like I want to be able to keep that mentality for all my fights, and I think I have it, but it is easy to get like, oh, you win a fight and then you go into your next fight maybe two, like maybe there's not much on the line, you know what I mean? Versus when you lose, you got more on the line. And I feel like I'm one of those guys that when I know there's something on the line, I tend to perform to my highest ability.
Yeah. So do you think that after wins, you kind of perhaps be a little complacent?
Mm, maybe a little, but I mean, I train hard, I do everything right. But what I think to have that killer mentality, you know what I mean? Sometimes when you win, it's easy to kind of relax the mind a little bit. I'm gonna go in this fight, whatever, and I don't know. It's just when you lose, there's something. At least for me, because there's some people when they lose and they hide in a hole and they're not the same person. They don't recover from it. But I came up years of competing, competition, high level. So I think for me, it's just like when I lose, it's like I reach a new level. Versus when I win, I could reach a new level, but it's not the same. When you lose, you can actually sit there and critique yourself and be like, okay, I could fix this. Versus when you win, can you really critique yourself? Because you know it worked, you win. Somebody could tell you, your coach could tell you, hey, you need to do this, you do this, and you could be like, man, fuck you, like I won, like I don't need to listen to you. It's easy to fall into that, and so yeah, that's why for me, I think losing, I'm able to critique myself, go back to the drawing board, and win. I'm not saying I want to lose my fights, fuck that, but it's just having that mindset. And I believe I have that now, that ability to I could keep winning and just be honest with myself.
That's really interesting. So while we're on the subject, kind of your mindset and your mentality, your last fight was a really weird one. It was almost defined by all those low blows and groin strikes. You were unfortunately on the receiving end of. So what's it like mentally to not only get kicked once, but a couple times throughout the fight? Like how do you keep coming back from that in the middle of the fight?
Yeah, no, it's not easy, for sure. The first one, man, that really it felt weird. Like I don't know, like it felt I'd never been hit in the groin that hard. I've been hit there before. As a man, every man knows that I don't feel good. But that first shot was fucking. It was heavy, and it just felt like something stabbing. Like a huge cramp went all the way up, like my stomach, everything. And like in those moments, I was like, man, this is like I was just thinking this. I was supposed to fight this dude in May. This is literally what I was thinking in that moment. I was supposed to fight this guy in New Jersey in May. Fight got called off. He had some medical issues, staph or something, and then we moved the fight 4 weeks. And I just can remember that long fight camp. To extend the fight camp longer, it was draining. It was hard, and and then that happened right off the bat, and I'm like, man, like, what do I do? Do I take more rest time? Like this fucking, it's tough to breathe right now. Like mentally, all this is going through my head. I'm like, no, I'm gonna fight. I need to fight. Like this is not who I am. You know what I mean? And this fight, like, I went through all this bullshit, and then for this to happen. Like, no, I'm gonna get up. But I think I let the ego get to me a little bit. I should have took the whole rest time, honestly, and just to recuperate more and just to rethink, not rethink, but like to get back, reprogram myself to get back in the head in the fight. And but yeah, but I did it anyway, and hats off to him. He got the victory. I do feel like that wasn't the real me out there, but I don't have no excuses. You know what I mean? I decided to get up and fight after that, so that's all on me. And the big takeaway for me, I know those are illegal blows, but I look at fighting like, it's life or death almost. You're in there fighting another man, and even if he throws something illegal, like I got to be able to to get back in it. Obviously, if you get kicked to the head, there's certain circumstances, but I want to be able just to like if this really life or death for me in there, I got to be able to bounce back, even if it's an illegal shot, like in that moment.
Yeah. So you mentioned kind of wishing you'd taken more of that rest time. I feel like whether we're talking about groin strikes or eye pokes, every fighter gets 5 minutes, but it's really rare that you see a guy use the whole 5 minutes. And sometimes the eye pokes, you'll see the guy, all right, yeah, I'm good. He'll get back in there, and he'll still be kind of wiping at his eye, and it's like, dude, you had 2 minutes left. So what kind of pressure is it, or how long does that 5 minutes feel when you're just kind of sitting there to recover? And like, are you kind of like, it's 2 minutes in, I'm feeling okay, maybe I could take it? Like, what kind of pressure do you feel to be like, okay, we got to get this thing going again?
Yeah, honestly, I think it's the pressure. The pressure we put on ourselves is like, I think people's perspective, honestly, because you're sitting there. There's no fight going on. You got the fans there, commission, referee. Everybody's essentially waiting on you to make the decision whether you're going to fight or not. You're going to take the rest time. So I think it's the pressure of all the people watching that makes the fighters like, no, I'm good. Like, throw me back in. But that's what it is. The times it's happened to me, like the last one. I think it was the pressure of all that. Obviously, I was thinking about you know, I this fight. Like I said, I trained hard. The fight got extended longer than it was supposed to be, but I think a lot of the pressure from the people, I think it impacts the fighter's decision. Like, no, I'm gonna get back in there. But I think as fighters, even you know, fuck it, take the time. You know what I mean? Recover. This is your career. This is your fight. At the end of the day, all those people there, they're gonna go back to their house, to their wife, to their family, to their job. The next day they ain't even thinking about you. So it doesn't really matter what people think about you because at the end of the day, people battling their own problems. You think they're really thinking about like Johnny Munoz at the end of the day? Or are they really thinking about Conor McGregor? You know what I mean? Or any fighter for that matter. You know what I mean? In those moments, like you got to do what's best for you. So at the end of the day, those people are going to do what's best for them.
So after the fight, when you were in the hospital getting treated, you tweeted out 2,000 retweets, and I'll upload the hospital images of my swollen nutsack. After you sent that tweet, was there any part of you like, oh shit, I really hope this doesn't get 2,000 retweets?
Yeah, I don't think I wanted to show my nuts on there. I just kind of said a number, but I was just like, man, I was in the hospital and I had to go pee, but I was on the hospital bed because they were like, I had a cut or something. I don't know. I didn't want to go to the hospital, but I'm glad I did because of the nut thing. Because otherwise, I don't know. I probably wouldn't have known about it really. Because like in the moment, like I was just whatever. Just, your adrenaline. I felt like I was in a fight. After you fight, especially through a fight that goes to the decision, you feel the soreness, like you fought. So I had to go the restroom, but they're like, "Oh, you can't get up. We have like IV in you and all this." I was all right. Well, they gave me a bottle, and that's when I noticed everything. And I peed in the bottle, and then blood's coming out, and I was like, "Oh my god!" Like this, there was a. I wanted to pass out when I saw that.
Wow, that's pretty scary for sure. So, kind of on a different note, you are bantamweight. Bantamweight, me personally, is the division in the UFC I am enjoying the most right now. I don't know if you saw yesterday, Aljamain Sterling won his grappling match. He said that Sugar Sean's either got to run it back with him or fight his teammate Merab. As a guy, looking to get in the mix in this division yourself, where do you stand on all the drama at the top of the division?
Yeah, I mean, there's I don't know. I mean, I don't focus on all those guys. I try to focus on my career, but obviously I'm paying attention. If you're in the division, you're aware of what's going on at the top. I just try to focus on me and, yeah, I don't know. I would like to see Sugar Sean fight Merab or Aljo. I think that's the correct fight to make, in my opinion. Either you give Aljo the rematch, or if he doesn't, you just fight Merab. He's the number one contender. Like, what the fuck do we have rankings for if you're not going to follow that? And I know it's like a popularity contest. Like, they want to go where the money's at. And the Chito fight, Sean O'Malley, like, lost to Chito. You could build that story, but I don't know. I feel like Cheeto's like not taking nothing away from Chito, but it's an easier fight for O'Malley to fight Chito than it is to fight Merab. Uh, but I don't know. I mean, you should give Aljo the rematch. Like, if you give like Izzy a rematch or the other champions a rematch, why don't you give Aljo a rematch? And Aljo was like somewhat of a dominant champion. You know what I mean? So I don't know, but I think they're probably going to go with Chito, in my opinion.
Yeah, I kind of stand with you where I would like to see the Aljamain or Merab fight, but if I had to put my money on it, I would say that we're going to see Cheeto get that fight. But thank you for your time today. You are fighting Aori Qileng Saturday at the Apex. Before you go, I got to get a prediction. What's going to happen?
Yeah, I'm gonna sub this guy uh, within the first 2 rounds. So I want to go back to I'm known for my jiu-jitsu, so I need to put that fear back into people. And I like striking and doing everything, but I really want to showcase this fight and dedicate this fight for jiu-jitsu martial artists out there, and bring back that old school jiu-jitsu. The jiu-jitsu you saw with the Gracies. Uh, the early Brazilian top team. Those guys, they were just beating everybody up with jiu-jitsu, and it wasn't sport jiu-jitsu, but it was just brutal jiu-jitsu, just punching, ground and pound, making guys tap and really making guys quit. So it's what I want to showcase in this fight, and I just really want to do this for jiu-jitsu because I do think it's still a dominant art if it is applied correctly.
Awesome. Johnny Munoz doing it for Jiu Jitsu. Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate the time.
Hey, thanks for having me, brother. Thank you.